free Golden Eagles for War Thunder. Download the app in the description below.
Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'll be showing off the TAR-152H1 and we have just received the best possible map for this aircraft. And yes, if you look into the right top corner, you will see it still says 1.67, and yet even now in 1.69, closing into 1.71, this map is, I think, still in rotation for RRB. So let me explain a little bit about Frontline Mossdock. This is probably my favorite map in the game, at least when it comes to flying the TAR-152, and you'll very, very shortly see why. First of all, I get an air spawn. Second of all, the distance between one airfield and the other is approximately 1 minute of flight time. In other words, we're going to go straight into combat with approximately 0 site climbing. Now, realistic battles are something that I have extensive experience with, albeit not very recently. I was a very avid player of realistic battles back in 2014 and 2015. In 2016, my kind of focus started swapping over towards tanks, and in 2017, I've been 100% a devoted tank player. Obviously, still, spamming close air support and whatnot, but I haven't been paying much attention or devoting much time to air realistic battles. And because of that, I'm not going to be here to preach on any kind of balance. Things that happen in this game mode, there's a few things I don't like, there's a few things I could talk about, but in general, what I like is I like making the best of my matches. And so, TAR-152 with an air spawn on a tiny map with a cloud limit of about 2,500 meters is about as perfect as it could possibly get. So, TAR-152 is a Focke-Wulf with big fat wings, which resembles the guns and also the flight model of what I would say is a D-12. A lot of you will point out that's not actually accurate, but for the sake of the discussion for now, the TAR-152H1 isn't going to be flown as a high-altitude bomber interceptor. Because, let's be frank, when's the last time you spawned into the game and went after a bomber with your TAR-152H or any other designated bomber fighter from World War II? The answer is probably never, because bomber hunters can go after a maximum of 4 bombers, because that's a limit per match, and all the 4 bombers are usually either climbing to space, or flying around the side of the map, or just diving straight down, ripping their wings. Essentially, it's just not efficient. Now, maybe if you're going through the stock spading process, fine, but for me, I'm going to use a TAR-152 just the same way I would use a little bit more aggressive Focke-Wulf that can turn very sharp at slow speeds. First target we're focusing on, and we're going to be picking them off one by one, is an LA-9. I'm going to go from what is most dangerous to what is least dangerous, and that's usually what I do in this kind of matches, is you try to focus on all the vehicles that are going to be giving you a hard time later, and especially these Yaks, Lavochkins, if they're stuck at low speed, their performance is better at this altitude, but luckily for us, because of the cloud limit, it essentially renders Russian planes at their altitude. They're all stuck at this 2,000 to 2,500 meter range, where they, albeit, perform better than me, but I'm still above them because I'm in the clouds. So what I'm doing is I'm using my teammates as spotting bait. My teammates that are getting shot down, getting killed, are forming a very, very nice net of all the targets. So what I have to do is I just have to pick them off one by one. Essentially what we're doing is we're playing the TAR-152 as I would probably play a P-47. And look at that. That has to be the best bait I've seen in a very long time. The BF-19 goes up, it brings the Yak into a stall climb, and essentially what he does is he's able to reverse into a different opponent. I get a kill, he doesn't get shot down, and he can get himself onto the back of another aircraft. Beautiful teammate, beautiful work, and again, I go straight back down, and he's already sidewindedly baited a second Yak. Now, I'm going to swap targets here, because I'm going to go for the Yak 9UT first, get a few hits onto him, and then I was trying to reverse into the Yak 3P, had a bit of a bad approach. I'm going to now extend. I have to swap targets, I'm going back for the LA-9, that is still the most dangerous one. He pulls a bit of a upside-down head-on pass, I put a burst out, neither of us hit, and then again, I swap targets for the Yak 3P. I see the Yak 3P is going into a vertical, I'm going to go into a split S. I'm just reversing what the enemy is doing. Why? Because I want to go back to help the BF-19. As long as that BF-19 is alive, I've got leverage. I've got somebody that I know can bait. And trust me, when you find players who can bait, do everything in your power to save them because they're going to be bringing you free kills and a free win. Look at that. Beautiful bait for the Yak 3P. Immediately re-engage the LA9, and this time I'm a little bit more devoted with the head-on pass, going to commit a little bit harder, get him set on fire, eliminate him, and the only damage I took was, I believe, to the radiator cowling in the front. Really minute damage, going to cause maybe a 2% performance loss, and I can straight go back into engaging the Yak 3P that we Immelman reversed previously. LA9 is now being taken out. I can ignore the Yak 9 because he's being engaged by a third teammate, and this is going to be a 1v1 for me and the Yak 3P. Now, I don't know what the Yak 3P was actually doing there. I don't even know what my camera was doing, but he just flew in a straight line straight up. Let's just say an MG151 and a 30mm MK108 are not very friendly when it comes to accurate shooting at close ranges. Now, I've actually run out of the 30mm ammo, so we're back on the 20mm. Still, 100 rounds, 50 per gun, plenty enough to re-engage the Yak 9 UT. And at this point, through the help of maybe one or two of my teammates, we've been able to take out probably 4 to 5 aircraft. And the Yak 9U, this was a bit of a poor engagement. He's doing a little mistake of actually using flaps there and ends up crashing himself. I'm going to count that as a kill because we were there, and it's going to equate to about 8 total kills per match. So I've gotten 6 kills. I've done that with pretty much my entire ammunition count. We've lost minimum amount of teammates, and I'm going to be going back to base to land and rearm. And because the map is so tiny, I don't have to fly, for 15 minutes in a straight line, so I can then eventually crash on the runway. As a matter of fact, it's a simple 30-second fly back home. So let's talk about the Time Wolf F2's performance for a little bit, because there's a few tricks that I noticed with this plane all the way back a year and a half when I was making a review on it. As a matter of fact, well, that review is gone, by the way. A few people have asked me what happened to the content on the channel. I want to answer this real quick. I deleted it. There was one night where I went out with JJ, and we got so hammered that when I came home, I wanted to do some work. And I thought that what I would do is I would get rid of videos that I thought were outdated, or that were like drama related, things that I didn't want to be associated with anymore. Call it censorship, call it bad mood, call it being dead drunk. I wanted to just privatize the videos, but unfortunately privating videos was proving to be slower than just deleting them. So what I did was I just performed a multiple delete, and I think over 150 videos were lost in the process. I do feel bad about it now, looking back. All the Doom times, all the Russian bias videos are really great looking back at them, but again, the memory still, lingers in my head, albeit there's nothing I can physically show for it. Was it a bad decision? Probably. Am I going to regret it in a couple of years? Probably not. Just the less of the things in life. In 20 years, you'll probably regret things you didn't do than things that you did do. So, 6 kills. We can get a few more because there's still planes up. And I wanted to break my old record. My record was 8 kills in a match, I believe, in the F4U 1A UMC Marine Corps, whatever it is, against Japanese on the map of actually New Guinea, which was ironic. And I've always wanted to break that record. I think a double ace would be a really nice result in RRB, albeit it's very, very hard to perform. Again, to get so many kills in a match, you have to have, I always call this the balance and imbalance of teams. Because when you queue into a game, think about it, right? When you queue up into every single match you play in any given game ever that doesn't have a ranking system in place, you're being ranked up by whichever people are playing in that particular matchmaker. So when you're playing your 5.7 Taiwan 152 and you click on queue, everybody else who's playing 5.7 Germany is going to likely end up in the same match. And you can't really control whether these players are going to be good or bad or average or mediocre, whether they're going to bait for you, whether they're going to kill steal from you. It's all what I like to call the matchmaking RNG. And sometimes you get a very good team, sometimes you get a very bad team, sometimes a steamroll happens. It's all down to a matter of, just coincidence. Now, in order to get a lot of kills in a match and still win and not struggle too much, there has to be this balance between your team has to be good enough to survive, but bad enough not to get any kills, or at least not to try to get any kills. The enemy team, on the other hand, has to be good enough to not crash, but bad enough to be able to all feed you kills. And so matches above 6 kills are extremely rare to happen. For me, I've had a plethora of matches with that many kills, but usually none of them were in aerialistic battles. And again, the only matches that I've had above that tend to be, rarities as it is. Now, getting an ace match, I think is completely possible. Getting 6 to 7 kills is still doable. 8, 9, and 10, those are the kind of high up limit, which I think that only the best players with the best optimal plane per the map against the best optimum RNG per team will be able to pull off. So we're running up here to get the LA9 eliminated and then follow up with a TU2. If I do perform this, we essentially get a total of 9 kills if we count the Yak, but essentially what happens here is my shots fall a little bit short for the LA9. He gets taken out by the Falco 490 D9. And then, because I wanted to, I do secure the kill in the TU2 by actually spraying a little bit more than I would have. And technically, we did break 8 kills if you do count the Yak that broke its flaps off and then crashed, but essentially this could have been a potential 9-kill game if there was maybe 5 seconds of a difference between me reaching the LA9 or not. And to make matters worse, this was the a bit of a piss taker, 7 kills, and I'm not first on my team. Not the first time, not the last time this has happened, and it's also not exclusive to just this game mode. The same thing happens in Ground RB, just that there using aircraft is more beneficial than using tanks. So it's a bit counterintuitive that a game mode that focuses around aircraft engaging aircraft is in fact more beneficial by using aircraft to eliminate ground targets, which essentially aren't even players. They're just AI programmed to either stay in the same spot, shoot at the near vicinity of aircraft, or in fact be a tank that just drives around in a circle. Something I would really like to see slightly tweaked up and improved because it's a simple fix and it should help to a very, very clean and very regenerative RRB game mode. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you in the next one. Toot toot.